Well, hello. Over the last some of the sessions that we've had, we've actually focused on options. We've been focusing on options and specifically how to value an option. And what I showed you was actually using one of the means of doing that, which was the binomial model, options pricing model, which basically breaks down the period into smaller increments. And basically you're building a tree out of it so that you can actually get to the end prices and then work your way back to actually get to the initial what the price should be right now. So we've done that. And so now I wanted to actually talk about what is an option. And you have two different kinds of options. You have a call option and you also have a put option. And basically a call option gives the buyer the right, not the obligation. That's the key right there, by the way. Those two words right there, the right versus an obligation. The call option gives the buyer the right to buy an asset at a specific strike price. And we will talk more about that strike price. So that strike price for every option, there's going to be a strike price. And it can be at the same price as what the equity is at right now. It could be higher or it can be lower than the actual price of the equity. And so that is, again, fundamentally very, very important, that strike price. And with a put option, it gives the buyer the right, not the obligation again, to sell the asset at the strike price. And so the difference is obviously when you buy a call, when you invest in a call, it gives you the right to buy. Okay. Buy at that strike price. So if the security is selling for $100 right now, that's the actual price of the security, and you have a strike price of 120. Obviously, it doesn't make any sense for you to buy it right now because the 120 is higher than the 100. But if the stock at that price of that security, let's say, goes to 140, then you can actually buy the security through the option at 120. And now you've got a $20 gain. And you can also sell the option, by the way, and still get that most of that gain. And we'll talk more about that, not so much now, but again later on, especially as we get into more and more of the strategies. Whereas with the put option, it's the same thing. It gives you the right to sell. It's, again, the opposite of the call. And so if the security is at 100 and the actual strike price is at 80, again, it doesn't make any sense for you to sell it at 80 if the price is currently 100. If the price drops down to 60, then yes, you can actually sell that option. Or it gives you the right to, you actually have the right to sell that asset. And again, the key here is that in this case, you have the asset. Let's say you do have the asset. And so you're just basically buying a put to protect yourself. That's one of the strategies that you can do, especially with puts. And so if you have the asset, it's actually dropped from 100 to 60, but you have this put option. Now you can still sell that asset at 80 versus 60. And so that's the benefit. That's the benefit of the put option. You can also buy, what I call naked put options where you don't have the asset but if you can actually sell the put, you can actually buy the put and then sell the put so that you can actually also make a gain on it if the price drops, is what I just talked about. Um, and then there are two different ways you can actually do the options. You can be a writer of the option, um, where you are actually selling the option. You can actually sell a call. So in that case, you're actually taking the opposite position, where somebody who buys a call is taking the position of having the right to buy that security at the strike price. In your case, you're selling that option, so you don't have the right. Basically, if they call on you to be able to buy that, you have to sell them that security at the strike price of the option. Now, the key thing is with when you take the other side of a call, you're actually selling the option. Um, if that security actually just for whatever reason just takes off, then there's going to be a big loss to you, especially if you don't have that security on hand. And so you have to be very mindful of that. There is no blockade on that loss. There's no stoppage on that loss. If it continues to go up, your loss will only get bigger and bigger. Again, if you're selling that option and the security takes off on you. Whereas for the actually the buyer of the option, then he's going to be very, very happy, obviously, in that case. Same thing with the put. You can also sell a put. And so, and again, the difference is by selling the put, if somebody calls that put on you, then you have to buy that security at the strike price. So if the security drops like we talked about before from let's say 100 to 60 and the strike price is 80, that individual who put the put now has the right to actually sell that security to you at 80 and you have to buy it. You have to buy it at 80 and obviously you can't sell it at 80. You can only sell it at 60 because that is the market price. So there is a loss to you in that case. And again, it doesn't have to be, you can actually, I mean, if you sold the option, they can sell the option, they can sell the put. So it doesn't have to be called upon for you to actually have a loss. When you sell the call or the put and it drops from, let's say the strike price was at 80 and it drops from 100 to 60, then you're going to be possibly, you are carrying a loss, you know. And so those are the things that you have to be very, very, very aware of, especially when you actually sell a call or you sell a put. And the things that you have to consider are, do you want to actually have the asset, when you do that? And if you don't have the asset, do you still want to do it? And if you do it without the assets, then the loss profiles can be a lot different. So, and again, we'll get into more of that, but I want to at least get this out as far as what a call option is and what a put option is. And we'll continue on this progression on the options as far as learning about them and going through the different strategies on the subsequent sessions. Thank you.